I am the chairman of the United States Transhumanist Party. I have been the chairman for nearly 8 years, since November 2016, and I have led this organization in an effort to put science, health, and technology at the forefront of American politics. We aim to promote awareness of how technology is changing our society and affecting people's lives to a much greater extent than pretty much every issue that politicians like to debate about. And it seems that politicians from the mainstream political parties just ignore technological progress most often. But the US Transhumanist Party is not like that. We have 3 core ideals. The first core ideal is we support significant life extension achieved through the progress of science and technology. The second core ideal is we support a societal, cultural, and political atmosphere informed and animated by reason, science, and secular values. And the third core ideal is that we support the use of reason, science, and technology to mitigate and hopefully eliminate the existential risks that face humankind. Vitalism is a highly promising movement in that it focuses attention on the greatest enemy of us all, which is, in my view, death, and in particular, death through aging and the diseases that arise as a result of the aging process. This is a problem that has afflicted humankind since our species came to be. And yet it is a problem that is woefully ignored compared even to the treatments of various particular common diseases like cancer and heart disease. And while those diseases should indeed be fought and hopefully cured, the problem is that most people fail to recognize how greatly aging affects the probability of these diseases. Biological 60-year-old has several orders of magnitude greater probability of succumbing to those diseases than a biological 20-year-old. And we are within reach of advances that could help us reverse biological aging. Vitalism calls attention to that. The Vitalist Declaration is concise, it's straightforward, and it's founded on the understanding that life is good and death is bad. This is an understanding that many people hold implicitly, but they're afraid to fully develop explicitly and fully act on those implications. And my hope is that Vitalism as a movement, with the help of all of the organizations that become Vitalist, can illustrate this basic truth to people in a way that motivates them to actually act on it. The question of whether we are on track to solve the problem of aging is one where the answer really depends on how much public support we get and how much support we get for the scientists doing the research. So I think in terms of the technical feasibility, we are within striking distance. I'm a great admirer of the work of Dr. Aubrey de Grey. 20 years ago, reading some of his early writings on his SENS approach, the strategies for engineered negligible senescence, gave me an understanding that scientists have already enumerated the principal types of aging-related damage. And the key is to develop rejuvenation therapies that are able to address each of these types of damage and essentially set back the aging clock within each of our cells. However, that requires funding, and funding requires a large amount of public attention and support. I think of all of the events that are held to raise money for research on heart disease and cancer and Alzheimer's disease. And if we were to have that level of enthusiasm, that level of public support, if people were willing to go out and run races to raise money for aging research, that is going to make that crucial difference. Because based on my understanding of how technology advances. It's not enough to just have the technical feasibility of a particular treatment or device or therapy worked out. There also needs to be public acceptance of it, a market for it. People need to be comfortable with it. Policies need to be there to enable the treatment to be provided. Sometimes the Food and Drug Administration in the United States is just so restrictive that many drugs take over a decade, 10 to 15 years, to go through all of the clinical trials. And they cost several billions of dollars per drug in order to go through those trials. So only a few very large, well-funded pharmaceutical companies with a lot of lobbyists are able to get through that system. So we need reforms, and we need organizations to advocate for those kinds of reforms to make it easier for researchers and small businesses to develop and make available those treatments. And the Transhumanist Party has certainly been engaged in this kind of advocacy, but we welcome any allies that we can get, and we hope that Vitalism is able to catalyze the involvement of additional organizations and individuals in this important effort. If the US Transhumanist Party had unlimited resources, we would attempt a campaign not just to spread awareness of life extension, transhumanism, and various other emerging technologies, but we would actually try to become the government. We would try to win elections at the local, state, and national level, because we think the two-party system in the United States is a great detriment to progress. Unfortunately, what happens in this polarized two-party system is that each side, instead of focusing on policy, instead of focusing on how the situation could be improved, tries to get the voters within its base or its perceived constituency to hate the other side and to think that the other side is just absolutely terrible and disastrous. And you have a situation where 50% of the population is pitted against the other 50% based on issues that don't really affect most people's lives. And on the other hand, the issues that do affect most people's lives, particularly the relationship between science and technology and the human experience, are almost completely overlooked. So we need a change in the political system. We need a political party that's focused on the substance, that's focused on the policies and removing the roadblocks to progress, making it easier for researchers to make advances in medicine, in biotechnology, in nanotechnology, in artificial intelligence, and other computational techniques that could help us achieve these advancements as well, and in technologies of production that could make everything cheaper and more abundant and more accessible for people, so that people have a higher quality of life and more of them will want to live longer. More of them would look forward to lifespans that are centuries or millennia long or even longer. I would like to live forever. I do not have any upper bound to the lifespan that I would wish to attain. I'm the author of this book, Death is Wrong, which is the world's first and thus far only illustrated children's book on radical life extension. And the reason why I think that death is wrong is life is right. Life is everything we have. And life offers so many opportunities, so many possibilities, so many things to do, so many things to explore. It's inexhaustible. Even if one can read very quickly, read one book per day or 2 books per day. Thousands of books are published every day. There are so many new artworks, works of music, places to visit, places to build and create, new planets to colonize, to terraform, and going into the long-term future of humanity, entire galaxies. So why wouldn't we want to be around for that kind of future? It seems to me that not only is life everything that we have, but we can make it everything we want it to be.